Welcome to the Mesozoic Media Park. Our goal is to have a park that's filled with all kinds of references to dinosaur movies, shows, video games, documentaries, you name it. Today, I want us to focus on some vintage dinosaur media. So, vintage dinosaur media. How exactly are we going to pull this off? First of all, I kind of had a path that led all the way over here, and I want this to be the little vintage section. Kind of like this general area right here. There's two enclosures that I want to focus on specifically. That's the Crystal Palace enclosure and the Gertie the Dinosaur enclosure. I have had someone kind of like requesting Gertie the Dinosaur, and I do think that Gertie is a fantastic idea because of Gertie's significance to both like dinosaur media and media in general. Gertie the Dinosaur, if memory serves me correctly, was one of the first animated films out there. Which is pretty significant for animation and just for filmmaking in general, which means that it's also like one of the first depictions of a dinosaur. But first, I want to do the Crystal Palace reconstructions, given the fact that they are technically like some of the first reconstructions of dinosaurs in general. At the very least, it was one of the first times that the public can actually go out and see a dinosaur. Now, Megalosaurus is not in Jurassic World Evolution 3, as of right now anyway. So the only one we can include is Iguanodons. So I guess what I could do is recreate this right here. This is probably one of the most famous depictions of the Crystal Palace statues. I'm thinking I can use fences like this, because I don't know, fences like this, they kind of feel like they fit Crystal Palace. So we can have it like this, and then it'll be separated by a little bit of a moat, given the fact that there already is like some water that runs through Crystal Palace. So people can kind of just walk up and just look over and see their amazing iguanodons just walking around. And I'm telling you, I'm just so glad that we can finally use fences like this in this. Like, I'm glad that that's something that's an option in this game. Like, the possibilities for Mesozoic Media Park have never been greater than they are right now. Now, I probably shouldn't have it too terribly big either, but I also don't want it to be too terribly small, you know? Because Iguanodon is a pretty big dinosaur. That should probably be enough. Now, what I'm going to do is, also the path, I think, is a little bit elevated. So what we can do is we'll do a little bit of a pit down here. Just a small one. That is not small. Here, let me try that again. A little bit more like this, right? Then we can also place in the water. The water really doesn't need to be too deep. Turn down the radius. Intensity. Really? That's the smallest that the radius can go? Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, well, not exactly how I wanted it to look, but it's fine. There's also some water in Gertie the Dinosaur too. So I guess what this means is we can use this water to go directly into Gertie's enclosure. We'll have Gertie's enclosure over here, and we'll have it all link up kind of nicely. There we go. You get like this over here, and then the iguanodons, they're kind of like on a little bit of a hill. Yeah, they're kind of like on a little bit of a hill. So we can try to make this look as accurate as possible, but it is mostly meant to just be a reference. We can also smooth it all up a little bit more like that. There's also a fair amount of rocks up there that are kind of just embedded in the side. And there's really not a lot of vegetation either, at least from the photos that I'm looking at, which is kind of annoying given the fact that I can't really do much in the way of that. I mean, I guess like, that is way too much vegetation. I'm mostly talking about this grass right here because, as we know, the brushes on this map are not the best. I guess I could do it like this. That doesn't look terrible. Like that. And then we can go on to the rocks. There we go. And I'm like trying to make this rock look like the one that one of the iguanodons is standing on. So it's not too terribly huge. Maybe a little bit more like this. Yeah, kind of like that. There is still some vegetation kind of littered all over the place. And then there are some trees in the background too. So the back of their enclosure can be kind of like a nice little forest. It'll also hide some of the fences that we'll be using. Okay, and I guess this means that I should also extend this a little bit. So I'll go ahead and select all of these. And then for the rest of it, I'm thinking we could just use a regular run-of-the-mill wall. But yeah, we still need to keep these dinosaurs in here, you know? Okay, that is the Crystal Palace Iguanodon exhibit. I kind of like how it looks too. especially with the, all of this, this river down here. So we'll go ahead and get the iguanodon in there, and then we'll work on Gertie's enclosure. So this was certainly an exciting one to make. Crystal Palace is actually a place that I really want to go. It's certainly like towards the top of my bucket list in terms of like dinosaur related things that I would love to go and see. It really is one of the reasons why dinosaurs became as popular as they are today, because those statues were one of the best ways for people to visualize these animals that once existed on Earth. And so, of course, it probably generated a lot of excitement over the years that people were able to go and see them. Now, of course, the reconstructions are very different from the way that we view them nowadays, and that's because they were going off of next to nothing. They had very limited fossil material, and nobody had any idea of what a dinosaur could potentially be. So honestly, they did pretty good with what they had, but it is just very distinct from how dinosaurs are reconstructed nowadays with our updated information. Now, it really is just a shame that we're not able to have Megalosaurus in this as well, because Megalosaurus is it's also very important. It was the first ever named dinosaur. So it would be nice to have it in here, but I'm sure it'll be added sometime in the future. I can't remember if it was a base game dinosaur for Jurassic World Evolution 2. I genuinely can't remember if that was the case. If not, hopefully it does get added regardless. Okay, so that is the Crystal Palace Iguanodon enclosure. Next up is Gertie the dinosaur. Now, Gertie's little short film is on the side of a cliff. I don't know how best to represent that. I don't know if I should have the cliff on this side, like have the water go over here, or have the cliff on this side and have people look at Gertie from a distance. We could probably, well, honestly, it might look cooler because you could actually see the majority of the cliff. So what we'll do, we might be able to turn this into a waterfall, which is always really cool. We'll just make this terrain a lot lower over here. We'll flatten it out a little bit. And then Gertie's enclosure, we'll put it, let's say, like right over here. Well, this is where Gertie's cliff will be. And then, like I said, we can have a nice sort of waterfall right here, because waterfalls are always really cool. Actually, let's make this water deeper than how it is currently being placed down. And then that makes some really good kind of like sharp cliffs as well. Just remembered there was also a plesiosaur in the... There's actually a way for me to... There is a way for me to put a plesiosaur in this. I have an idea. My brain just hatched an idea. Well, actually, I don't know if it was quite meant to be a plesiosaur. It was just some sort of serpent that was in the water, around where Gertie was. Okay, I don't think I'm able to get it to work, unfortunately. My plan was to put this down here and have it connected with the water and like cover up all of the borders of the aquarium with rocks, but I don't think I'm able to go down to this level. It looks like you had to keep it up there. That's a little bit unfortunate. So I guess we're not going to have a plesiosaur in this. I mean, obviously it's not the end of the world. We'll just have Gertie. Gertie is the main focus. Obviously, there's like an elephant or a mammoth that shows up at some point, but we can't do that in Jurassic World Evolution 3. So we'll just keep Gertie as the focus. And actually, Evolution Square did make a pretty cool bridge. I wonder if I can use that here. Like, say if we put it like right here, or like right here, and then we put it like right here, like that. Maybe we have it like that. Let me clean up some of this, of course. I don't know. I just think it's like a really cool viewing area. I'm trying to do some different things as far as the viewing goes. Because I really do want to feel this like make this feel like a proper zoo sort of thing. Yeah, you can walk across the bridge. I mean, I know that the guests can't actually walk onto the bridge, but you can walk across the bridge. You can see Gertie just hanging out over here with her tree. It also kind of seems like she's blocked in with some rocks, so I'll make her enclosure out of rocks. Who knows what color those rocks were, but I can make them I could try to make them match the rocks that we have right here at the very least, which, yeah, that looks like it. And actually, we can also use rocks to separate Gertie from the Crystal Palace dinosaurs. And quite notably, Gertie does have a tree. We will give her a tree. Well, I mean, she eats the tree, but it was there for a bit. Kind of like that. Actually, I might even be able to make it bigger than that. Because why not, honestly? Just really make it have it be a focal point. Then as far as this goes, we can actually dress this up a little bit more nicely. That way it seems like maybe the river is going through a little bit of a tunnel instead of, you know, just going underneath the fence. It might look nicer. Yeah, that's really kind of cool. And again, this bridge is done by Evolution Square. If you want it for yourself, here's what it looks like on the workshop. You can go and get it. Yeah, this is where Gertie the dinosaur will be. We'll have an Apatosaurus just kind of like hanging out over here. I think Gertie is meant to be a Brontosaurus because I believe that it was based off of the Brontosaurus skeleton at the time. But Apatosaurus is the closest that we get in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Now, most color depictions of Gertie make her green, so that's what we'll do here. Is that the right type of green that I want, or do I want it to be like more emphasized? Because that's a little bit too dark. Guess we'll go with a lighter green coloration. That's probably as close as we can get. So yeah, we'll do that. And there she is. There's Gertie. Can I go on the bridge? Please tell me. Ah, I can't go on the bridge. Like, I can't walk around at the very least. What I can do is, you know, I can switch to camera mode, and then we can go down here. And this is what the Gertie enclosure looks like. That is one of the most important dinosaurs in the history of dinosaur media. Gertie the dinosaur. Everybody give her a fantastic round of applause because she deserves it. This is so cool, though. Like, we've never, in Evolution 2, we were definitely, there was no way we could have done something like this, you know? A waterfall especially, which I need to fill in the rest of that with rock so that it looks a lot more consistent. But no, this is seriously so cool. Gertie the dinosaur over here, and the Crystal Palace iguanodons over here. This is like a really cool vintage section. There's probably way more vintage things that we could put as well, but this is some of some of the most important vintage creatures that we have. So I'm really happy to include them. Yeah, if you guys have any other requests for what you'd like to see me do next, be sure to let me know down below. But this park is already looking so cool. Like it's already looking so much better than it did in Jurassic World Evolution 2. And a lot of the reason why that is because of things like the terrain tools and just the modular building. It offers so much more potential than I ever had in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Like, already this looks way better. I mean, in Evolution 2, my Mesozoic Media Park, I literally just used invisible fences all over the place, which was not the way to go. Like, I didn't want to make it look like a park in Evolution 2, which I think was a bad decision. Because I think that making it look like a park looks way better. Like you're visiting a place that has a bunch of really cool references to some of your favorite dinosaur media, like Land Before Time here, or now Gertie the dinosaur and the Crystal Palace iguanodons. So I'm loving it. I'm really having a fantastic time doing this, and I love seeing how far it's come so far. The prehistoric park section looks really cool, Land Before Time, and now a little bit of a vintage section. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you on board. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.